a system is not working properly, this is what you will find. The enforcement agency, such as the DSS, the police, EFCC, they do not have integrity. They do not trust the judiciary. The judiciary does not trust this enforcement agency. Neither does the executive, the presidency, trust any of them. They do not trust each other. They work against each other. They are supposed to be a check and balance, but unfortunately, the judiciary can be bought. The enforcement agencies can be bought. They can operate on personal vendetta. Now, I'm sure most of you know about the latest development. That is the arrest that has been put on the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Several accusations have been put forward, and he escaped to the UK, back to the US, back and forth like that. And the information we had is that he's seeking for asylum in any of the country should the EFCC continue to push for his arrest. Well, the Department of State Services on Monday interrogated the deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and officials of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, who appear before its operatives in Abuja. It was learned on Tuesday that despite the inability, Tuesday 17 January, despite the inability of the DSS operatives to pick up the embattled CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, who returned to his office on Monday, yesterday, the DSS took other top CBN and FIRS officials to his headquarters and grilled them on sundry issues. Sources familiar with the development disclosed to reporters that the officials were hauled in a bus to the DSS headquarters where they were interrogated. It was reported also that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, deployed military personnel and intelligence officers to ensure Emefiele was not arrested by the DSS. And you'll be wondering, why is this so? Now, at the beginning, I told you that there is no synchronous operation between any of the establishments in Nigeria, government establishment. It doesn't work as it should. It's either one with the gun is trying to muscle on the judiciary or the jury, because the court ruled that Godwin Emefiele cannot be arrested. And the Department of State Services have not gone to the court to contest the decision of the court. They've not done that. Rather, they prefer to just flout the court ruling, jump on whoever it is that they claim has committed an offense. It is terrible. And for those who do not know, the allegation has been put on the CBN governor. It is the same thing that we've all been listening and hearing: misappropriation of funds, stealing, looting, and the threat, according to what we hear from some of the legislators, is that if he is arrested, he's going to call out names of whoever it is that has benefited, whoever it is that is benefiting or that has benefited from this so-called loot. Now, I said initially that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, deployed military personnel and intelligence officers to ensure Emefiele was not arrested by the DSS. You see how it works. You see, Emefiele had to call for some, favors. Probably this, General Lucky is part of the people who benefited or has benefited one way or the other. So he had to call for favors or for more stronger, he had to call the military. If the DSS comes, shoot them. They are still civilians. Apparently, the Chief of Defense Staff was the one that aided Emefiele to defy the DSS upon arrival. He knows that Nigeria is lawless. He knows that Buhari will not meddle. Buhari will not put his hands into it. As long as Buhari is not arrested, as long as Buhari's family is not part of it, Buhari will make sure that whoever it is that the security agencies tag will be dealt with. He will want to cover it. He will, even if the person has not committed any crime, he will just keep his hands off from it. We have not seen this happening to the, the CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria. We've not seen that happen to him anyway. When EFCC Magu, acting chairman, that was disgraced when he called, when he named him, when he said things about him and said, man, you have also benefited from this criminal, this and that. Buhari didn't do anything about it at that time. So, sources at the CBN said that the security personnel that accompanied Emefiele to the bank were larger than that of Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari, from the airport down to his home, from his home down to his office. Emefiele had returned to Nigeria. He went to the CBN with massive security. He was given military protection. His security is bigger than that of the president. Meanwhile, it has been gathered that the DSS interrogated several staffs, probably to get something from them to nail Emefiele. The talk is that Emefiele's policy, new introduction of Naira notes, and how other Naira notes that have been hidden, that would have been used for the election, was destroyed. It's like it stepped on toes, and they are like, you know what? If you have decided to destroy, spoil our show, we will do the same. We'll attack you. We'll combat you hard. We are going to do what we will do to you, and that is what they are doing. Now, they confess that Emefiele has been asking KPMG. Now, I'm talking about the staffs of CBN that were taken by the DSS. They confess that Emefiele had been asking KPMG, an accounting firm, to begin backdating audits after offering them 600 billion naira bribe. KPMG officials interrogated confessed to this. Last Thursday, the report is that the Apex Bank boss was still abroad and he was afraid to step his foot into Nigeria for fear of being arrested and detained by the secret police. Emefiele was part of President Muhammadu Buhari's entourage to the United States Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. between December 13 and 15, 2022. While Buhari returned to Nigeria, Abuja, a day after the summit, the CBN governor deliberately decided to delay his return to Nigeria. The president associates led by Baba Daura, a nephew and a close confidant of the president, Nasser El-Rufai, governor of Kaduna State, were identified as standing strongly behind the CBN governor. Of course, Baba Daura will stand firmly behind the CBN governor. I think some of them are the ones who called on, the military to aid the return, safe return of the CBN governor. Let's see how far this will go. Multiple groups and civil society organizations have raised alarm that there is a plot to frame Emefiele for terrorism, just to remove him from office. However, DSS swiftly warned against being used to undermine its investigation, although it did not specifically name Emefiele. Peter Afunaya, DSS spokesman, said the service will not be distracted by those seeking to use propaganda to undermine its lawful investigation. And this is still going further. There are sources that have reported that some monarchs and obas, emirs, have been lobbied and deployed to beg on Emefiele's behalf to convince the president and director general of the DSS of the need to let Emefiele be. Mama Daura and El-Rufai are working hard and doing everything within their power to wage war against the director general of DSS, Yusuf Bichi. Yusuf Bichi wants to go ahead. Maybe some people have called him like, you know what, that money that you kept, in fact, it could be a personal one. Like Yusuf Bichi is like, what? The money that I've kept hoping that I was going to use it upon my retirement, upon the end of this tenure. This dude has decided to spoil it. I am going to finish him up. I am going to finish him. He's going to be left with nothing. Emefiele was said to have helped the Kaduna governor secure a World Bank loan worth $350 million. Emefiele helped Governor El-Rufai loan this, which the governor made for himself 70 naira per dollar after the cash was sold to Aliko Dangote. You see how it works? It's a circle. El-Rufai gets a loan of 350 million naira from the World Bank via Emefiele's help. They sell to Aliko Dangote, and Emefiele makes 17 naira per dollar. So check 17 naira times 350 million naira. Emefiele is rich. Emefiele has serious stakes in 12 banks, and they say he needs to explain how he got money to be a major stakeholder in 12 banks. He's a major stakeholder in 12 banks. He has stakes in Tita, Globus, Providence, Union Bank, big interest in First Bank, and many other banks. Well, these guys are all criminals anyway, like every one of them. Talk about the Emefiele, talk about the DSS Bichi. Every one of them, they're all criminals. It's as simple as that. Don't forget to like and share this video. If you're just new here, tap on the subscription button.